Alright guys, welcome back to a chicken hawk vlog. It's been a while since I made one of these, but you know, I got some stuff to show you, and y'all been needing some real life content and none of that Marvel Rivals stuff, okay? There will still be some of that, but for now, let's get into it. Alright, so as you can see, I got my outfit on. Got a Post Malone shirt, and then the most important part is I got my Crocs right here. These are my chicken shoes, because they poop everywhere, and you know, in case I gotta catch them, gotta put them in sport mode. I'm not gonna do that because you'll see my toes, and I don't want you to see all that. So, but let's head over to the chicken coop. So we're gonna start with the back because there's a lot of stuff that happened back here. I'm gonna show you guys as much as I can of the old look of the chicken coop compared to what it is now. So as you can see here, we've got all these latches, and we've got these hinges, and we put a window back in. Well, actually the window's on the ground, but over here, actually, it's right here. But then there's also all of this, these windows here. These were already here, but we made them cooler and better because we painted them black. Well, actually it's called secret gray, but as you can see, it looks pretty black. So basically it started off pretty bad. So this bottom part here is all replaced with OSB boards because they were rotting out and they had holes in them, and you know, all that kind of good stuff. And then the top half is the old coop because they were in better shape, so we just painted over it. I'm going to show you one of these right here. This is where the nesting boxes are. Once they start laying eggs, they will lay them in here, and we'll just open this up and we'll grab all the eggs. There's another one over there. I think there's 7 of them total, but here's 4 of them right now. As you can see, they've been in and out of there quite often, but they don't need them yet because they probably won't lay any eggs until approximately October. There is one girl that we have that may lay eggs slightly earlier than that, but we'll see. But it'll be pretty exciting either way. So now we're gonna head over to the front. All right, quick pit stop. Sorry about that. Quick pit stop right here. We've got our water hose. It's a hose that has water to fill up the water for the for the chickens. Anyways, point is, used to be down here. We added this on so that we could actually get a working hose on it because there was no running water. There used to be, but we've stopped it since then because it just freezes the line and can cause problems, and we didn't need it out here anyways. Because these chicken coops, the whole idea was that they used to be in use before I was alive. There were turkeys, ducks, chickens, all kinds of stuff, anything you could really want. My grandpa had it all. And then once he stopped doing that, they kind of turned into what you guys see on screen now. So moving on to the front. Before we head inside, I want to show you guys the outside of the front because, like I said, everything in this was pretty much redone except for the top half. First, I'm going to close this door because I want to show you guys what's over here. So I'm going to take this little finicky thing. Oh, it came out first try. Look at that. Sometimes I have to tickle it.
What do you mean by that?
All right. Anywho, as you can see, we painted all this, put some hinges in. And if you take a look up here, we left this all red because we thought it looked fine with the black. If we feel like changing it to also making it black, then we will do that. But for now, we think it looks spicy and nice. And if you look here, you'll see my awesome caulk job from when I played with my caulk. And how we replaced that hole because there were wasps living in it. And they had deteriorated it with their nastiness because we all know the homies hate wasps. And those are the ops. But anyways, let's head into the coop. At our door here, as you can see, we have the most ingenious thing ever because it really works, but it also really doesn't work. It falls down, the magnets don't always clip, all that kind of stuff, but it does its job, so we're gonna keep it because I don't have the money to get a fancy door for the chickens. Anywho, we're going to park this like the Red Sea, and Daddy's gonna step inside.
What the Sigma?
Okay. So now that we're inside, I'm going to show you something about the door really quick. So there was a lot of gaps in the door. So my father and I, we put in all of this wood here so that it would cover up the gaps. And so if we were to close the door, it covers up any holes that were already there, and we put it in spots that couldn't be taken. As you can see, there's still a little bit of gappage, but it's not nearly as bad as it was, and it doesn't cause a draft, and that's the most important thing. Also, here's our little makeshift chicken door, because we don't want them to go out this door, so we close this and we leave that there so they don't just run into it. One of them has jumped on there a few times and fallen out the other side, but I'm not going to point any fingers or call anyone out. Maybe. You might see her later. Anyways, I'm going to try and put this back in now that I've made it a mess. Ah, there we go. All right, perfect. So, as we move along here, you'll see this is one of the roosts. This one does not get used nearly as much as the other ones. At all. At all. They have pooped on it, as you can see, and they do like to look out the window in the morning when they hear us coming. But these roosts over here have been here longer. This one was not here before. They actually all sleep on this roost here, and you can see all the poop that eventually we will have to scrape off. But for now, we're going to leave it because I don't feel like doing that. And with that being said, I will put a little clip of that on screen right now for my TikTok. And if you look up here, they sleep up here too because there's poop up there. All right, so we're going to move over to the windows here. As you can see, there's 2 layers because the chickens were actually getting through this bigger open fencing right there, so we had to put a smaller one so they can't get through. Specifically Neanderdingus, because Neanderdingus is an escape artist. You will meet him later. So we're going to move along here to this light. This was when they were a little smaller than they are now. Well, a lot smaller than they are now. We used this to keep them warm at night because we were worried about them, and it was a little cooler. It was earlier in the summer. Now they don't need it at all. They're big, and it's hot all the time. If you head over here, you'll see our food station. This is where they come and eat. As they eat, more food falls down. Same with the water. There's water in there. All it is, you take a bucket, and there's this little attachment. You flip the bucket over, you take the attachment off, you fill it up, and then you flip the bucket back over, and it drains out as they drink it. As you can see all over the floor, we have pine shavings. This helps keep the smell down, and it helps keep the floor cleaner. It's actually super comfortable, and they love to kick it around everywhere, so it's really good for them anyways. And so, last thing before we head outside is this right here. This is part of the slide door over there. We don't actually put it back at night because it is too hot out, and we like to let them have cool air. We shut this big window right here, and we shut the big door, and that's it. Because other than that, we would probably have predators, and it would also be too hot in here if we closed everything up. So we shut as minimal amount as possible while also keeping them as safe as possible, because why would I want to lose my chickens? Because I need to eat them myself. No raccoon, coyote, or possum is going to be eating my chickens, and the only thing that will be eating them is me. Before we get into the exterior and into the chicken coops themselves, I want to introduce you to our first chicken because I want to show you guys all of the chickens and who they are. He doesn't want this, so I'm going to let him be. And I say he. His name is Fred, but it's a she. It's going to lay eggs. You can tell it's Fred because on her tail feathers, it's more spotted. When I show you the other ones later, you'll see that it's darker. Like this black spot right here, this is all along the tail feathers, but on Fred, they are very spotty, and so it's super easy to tell. And Fred is also our most sociable chicken. This is a Rhode Island Red. They are usually the classic chicken that everyone gets. You can hear him, obviously. I don't know if the mic's actually picking him up right now, but he's making a lot of noise. But he's the most sociable. He will come and eat out of your hands. Literally, just before I started filming this, I opened the door, I put my hand down, he came over, and I grabbed him. He loves to be fed. He's fat, and he's going to taste, his eggs are going to taste great. So anyways, that's Fred. I'm going to put him back now into the coop. The first thing I'm going to show you, we are in the main coop. This is where we kept all of the chickens when we first got them. Right here is the water for the outside. It's kind of like the one inside, except you lift this up, and this whole cylinder comes up, and then you can fill the water, and then when you put it back down, it uses physics.
Oh my God! Wow!
Uses physics to push the water out. I don't really feel like explaining it right now. Something to do with the pressure, the water rises, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, water gets in there. for them to drink. So, moving on, if you head over here, you have our gate that we close every night so that they obviously can't get out. They actually put themselves to bed pretty well. They've started to do that. They've learned how to do that, where before you kind of had to get them to go inside. But then we just come in, we close this gate. Right here is a perch for outside. They love the perch everywhere and anywhere they can. And if you look right here, there's more of that fencing that was on the window inside that we've put here. We've put it actually all the way around the entire coop, because that is what kept them inside when they were too small and they could fit through the other fencing. And so with that, it was able to keep them inside and they stopped trying to escape, because the moment we set them down in this coop, they escaped immediately. And one of them ended up under that log pile, and I had to get on top of the log pile and pull things off of it because I was trying to reach this freaking chicken that had been at our house for 10 minutes. That's Neanderdingus, and like I said, you'll meet Neanderdingus. That's my favorite chicken. I love my child. That's my favorite child. Next thing I'm going to show you is right here. This is the door we have. There's actually not any doors on the other ones right now, but we have more of these. We don't actually really know where they came from, but my dad found them in the garage, probably from my grandpa before. We can use these little hooks on them to close the door. And if you can see, if you go over here, there is a big spot for them to walk through. And don't worry, these are kind of sharp, but they don't really touch them anyways, and it doesn't really bother them at all. So if you look through here as well, you can see that the doors go in the same spot all the way through to the very last coop. The last coop's actually the biggest coop, and if you take a look at the ground, you can see that they've scattered all of the pine shavings out here. We have never laid pine shavings out here. They have only been laid inside that door right there. That is the only spot, as you see one of the chickens in there. But that is the only spot we've ever laid pine shavings. They've done this all themselves. And this used to be grassy too. And the one back there used to be like a jungle. But they've knocked it all down. They're the perfect lawn mowers. It's just that we only have 16 of them, so we can't mow the entire yard. And so Chad has to do it because that's his job. Because Chad doesn't do anything. In fact, he's jobless. And me saying the J word right now is actually triggering him. And honestly, he needs a job application. So if you look on screen right now, you'll see that there is the roofing that we used to have was all tarps, because that was all we had to cover it. And the problem is that hawks like to sometimes come and dive onto chickens and eat them. And so we had to cover it with something. Thus, the tarps had rainwater and we were holding down with bungees. It worked, but it wasn't the best thing. So we built this. We've put this roof on completely ourselves with the help of our family, but it has worked obviously tremendously better because it's a bunch of metal sheets that are about 2 by 14, and we've slid them and put them this way with some beams underneath, and there's a slight slant on them so that they can drain water this way. The thing about these metal sheets is they were completely free. We found them at a trailer park that my grandma stays at. What the? Dude, this is the second time a bug... Okay, now that I don't have the word monster stuck in my throat, I'm going to explain this to you thoroughly. If it A, is too hot, B, rains, or C, it snows, they can go under here if they want to. If not, they can come over here like they do at night. As you can see, they are all over here. This is their favorite coop to be in. Again, it's the most room. There's the most vegetation, even though they've kind of knocked it all down. It has the most vegetation that they love to eat. And so it has allowed them to find it pretty fun over here. And that's where they go at nighttime, especially as the sun starts to set. It's really nice out right now, and they like to be outside. During the day, they tend to be under the shade. They tend to sit. If you actually look at that chicken right there, that's Big Mama. She is sitting in a little dirt pile. They like to take dirt baths, and they like to sit in holes and stuff. It's kind of funny, actually. It's pretty similar to like a cat, where they kind of look like a loaf of bread. But anyways, like I was saying, this is hawk netting. This stops any hawks from getting in. We've stapled that down, and we put it up there. But now we're going to get to the important stuff. It's time for you guys to meet the chickens. Guys, I'm a professional chicken catcher, and I'm going to show you how it's done. As you can see, I have found my target. So why don't we watch this. Okay, so now I've isolated the animal, the creature, the prey. I'm going to now catch Big Mama first try, because I only do things in first try. All right, okay, I promise this does not hurt the animal. Yes, she jumped into the cage, and before you start saying anything, no, that does not hurt her. She is fine. She is pretty sturdy, she's pretty strong. But this is Big Mama. We got her as a second grouping because we had to get rid of our roosters. I will show you guys a little bit of the roosters as well. I'm gonna put that on screen right now. But we had to get rid of those guys because they are terrors and they were causing problems. And you can't have too many roosters anyways. We do have one rooster, maybe two, maybe three. We really can't tell, it's not that easy. And the behavior of each one is a little bit different, so it's not as simple to tell. But this is Big Mama. She is a leghorn. She is very muscular, that's how leghorns are. She's bigger than everyone else right now because she came as a later pair, like I said. She came with two others. And she is older than all of them. But leghorns do tend to be not as big as the other chickens like the Rhode Island Red I showed you earlier. So this chicken was the first big chicken we had. And when we grabbed her, she jumped out of the box. But as soon as I grabbed her, she made so many noises that, you know, sounded like a chicken. But ours were still little babies at the time and making little chirp sounds. But she's a little yellow because where she came from was a little dirty, but we're also starting to wonder if it wasn't all dirt and she actually is just like this color because it seems to not be going away. But she's very, very kind. She took care of the little baby that we got that was a lot smaller than the other ones. So she did a really good job with that, and she is definitely fitting in with the family. It took her a little bit, but she figured it out. Okay, this little noisy guy, or girl I should say, is Smokey. This is one of my favorites. Smokey is an Americana. Americanas are super docile. They are a distant relative to a Buff Orpington. We have no Buff Orpingtons, but they are like the golden retriever of chickens. They're super nice. They're a little yellowish. He is an Americana. As you'll see with our other two Americanas, they are very different in color, but they are all the same species. They just get the cool colors. That's Big Mama back there trying to get back through because I tried to put that gate there, but as you could see in the last clip, they knocked it down. So he gets a little beard. But they're super docile, they're super nice. He's really funny. I always joke that he's cracked out on cocaine because he kind of just looks like that, and his beard is so big. Her beard. I really suck with the pronouns thing. I'm very sorry in advance. But with that being said, this is Smokey. And yeah. Alright, so as you can see, I've lost my entire flock out the door that the dumb idiot behind the camera, Chad, had left open. So that might be the only thing dumber than a chicken on this farm or in my house is Chad.
Be Dirty Dan.
What makes you think you can be Dirty Dan?
I'm dirty. See it.
I'd say I'm Dirty Dan.
I'd say I'm Dirty Dan.
No! I'd say I'm Dirty Dan. No!
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
Well, anyways, this is Neanderdingus. This is the infamous Neanderdingus. These Rhode Island Reds came in with all the other ones, but were about a week younger than all of them. And so inevitably they were smaller. He was the one who ran under the log pile, the one who jumped through the window. He was the problem. But that caused him to be super docile because we were constantly picking him up all the time because he kept escaping. And it caused him to be super nice in the end. And he is making a lot of noise right now, if you can hear that, as a lot of them do now. They used to all make little chirping sounds, like when I show you DaBaby later. He makes a lot of chirping sounds, but so do these guys. But Neanderdingus is probably my favorite chicken. We grew a close bond after I pulled him out of the log pile. And so yeah, this is Neanderdingus. Oh, and before I forget, you can tell it's him because like Fred had spots like this, Neanderdingus doesn't have as spottiness, but it is darker, and the darkerness is a little bit less dark than the other ones.
Bro,
Can I just give me a minute of your time? I just want to reach you about your car's extended warranty and your taxes that you owe, and just a little bit of anything else that you might need from me. Just give me a minute of your time. Just give me a minute. Just 1 minute. That's all I ask. Just a minute of your time. Just 1 minute. Woo! All right. This is Robin. Robin recently has gotten this golden color, but she's always looked just like this. As you can hear, she's very loud. We think it could be a male. But, so this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for offending you. The thing on the top of the head is called a comb. The thing underneath that rooster down there has is called a wattle. Roosters tend to grow combs and wattles a lot faster than females. And the hens, same thing. But, so Robin has a very red one, which is a common trait with roosters, but it hasn't grown in as much. My dad claims he heard Robin crowing one morning, but Robin doesn't crow nearly as much as that rooster down there, so we still don't really know. And a few other things can tell us that she's either a male or a female. So as of right now, we really don't know what she is, but this is also an Americana. As you can see, she's very pretty, and she does not like being held that much. She's probably the biggest hen we have right now, and she is in charge. The rooster's in charge, but she's also in charge. And that's enough of Robin. She's done. This is the heirloom holder. This is Chicken Hawk, aka me. As you can tell, kind of looks like my profile picture. He is also an Americana. She is also an Americana. She is super pretty again. This is her coloration. And she will also be laying eggs for us, hopefully. But as soon as we saw her, we were like, yeah, that's got to be Chicken Hawk. Because we knew we were going to name one Chicken Hawk. Had to happen. There's no way it couldn't. I'm basically called Chicken every day of my life. So, but this is my little son, my little daughter. I'm so sorry. But yeah, she's a little more docile than Robin is, but she's a little goofy. So you can see her do the head stability thing right here. But yeah, that's Chicken Hawk. Okay, so this is Big Papa. This is our one and only rooster. Well, hopefully one and only rooster. We don't know. I will put a clip of him crowing on screen right now. But he is obviously a rooster because of that big old wattle and that big old comb and how red they are. And he's very, very vocal. He crows in the morning, and honestly, he crows at random times of the day as well. So he just kind of does that. He does a very good job keeping the hens in check, and nobody really fights with him, and he's very big. So this is an Australorp. Australorps have that green tinted feather. They also are super cool because of that, and they lay very colorful eggs, like blue-green kind of. He obviously wants to get down, so I'm going to put him down now. But we have a couple of these as well. And with that, that's the end of the chicken coop tour. As you can see, they are super happy, and they actually are very good. We do have one more baby that's in there. He's the smallest of the group, but he got in there, and it's time for dinner, so I'm done making a YouTube video because, as you can tell, I'm very employed, and making YouTube videos is, so hard and so difficult. Okay, it's not difficult to make a YouTube video, but it is hard to edit them. I will say that. But hopefully this video gets out sometime soon. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope you guys like the chickens as much as I do. Maybe there'll be a second part to this video when they grow up and lay their first egg. And there's also a few chickens that we haven't named yet because they're kind of hard to tell apart. We've only named the ones that we could tell apart so far. But with that, tune into my TikTok, my Instagram, check out my YouTube shorts. You'll see stuff of us feeding them, little voiceovers, updates, things going on like that. Those also go into more depth of the rebuilding and remaking of this chicken coop. And so with that, Chicken Hawk signing off.